Hello, my name is Craig Ross, and today we're going to talk about a simple yet brilliant idea. Why not also run your B2B sales through the Nexternal platform you already use and love? Doing so will provide you with a single, consolidated system to manage all of your customers and their orders. Today, we're going to look at B2B sales and Nexternal from three different aspects. First, we'll look at the experience from your customer's point of view. Second, we'll look at it from your sales reps' point of view and their experience. And that's really where we've had a ton of interest. And third, we'll explore the business manager's perspective and look at how we enable and optimize B2B sales. Before we get started, let me reiterate that everything I'm going to show you is already included in an external platform that you already have, and there's no additional charge to use any of these tools. Also, I'll be moving fast, so if you have any questions, please type them into the webinar interface. We'll have time at the end to go through them. So on that note, let's take a look. So we're going to start this experience from a customer's perspective. And so your customers will go to your website, your B2B customers in this case, and ideally you'll have like a dealer login link or some area for those particular customers. So in this case, we click on dealer login. And since it's a demo for us, it's pre-populated. So we're going to log into the B2B store. Now the B2B store looks very, very similar to the consumer store. It doesn't have to, but oftentimes that experience still works great in a B2B environment. And it's really simple for your B2B customers to shop. So in this case, let's assume I need to restock the accessories in my store. So when I'm in the accessories category, first thing I can see is that I'm not paying retail. I have a specific price label. I can see I'm getting my wholesale price. These British Open towels are on sale. I need 10 of them anyway. The sale just makes it even better. So let's add 10 of these to our cart. We're good there. I also could use some teas. They've conveniently put them down here for me. And in this case, we'll get 5 packs of teas. Products are in my cart. I can check out. And then at this point, I'm all set with shipping. Even though I'm B2B, I don't have a great, maybe my payment history is a little shaky with First Fairway, so I still have to put in a credit card. And then I submit my order. So that's it. That B2B order was super simple. As a B2B customer, I log in, I see my pricing, even my products, and I'm all set. I don't need to call the merchant. In fact, I can place this order in less time than it would take for me to call the merchant. So customers love this and merchants love this. No phone, no customer service required. So that's the first experience you want to look at, customer. Now let's assume I'm a different one of your B2B customers. And this customer maybe is better than Ted Knight, who just placed the order. So this new customer goes to your site. They also click dealer login. And this customer, they work for an external. So you want to make sure that they are really taken care of. Granted, the people at Nexternal don't type well. Okay, so now it welcomes me, Josh, in this case, Josh Ross, the Nexternal employee. Now I'm presented with a very similar shopping experience. And also I need to buy some accessories. Now the first thing I'll see is I don't see wholesale price. I see what they're calling wholesale plus price. So I get an even better deal than Ted Knight did. I get the best level of wholesale pricing. So I'm segmented by my customer. So I also need some towels. Let's assume I need 50 of them, really stocking up. Now, in addition to the towels I also need to restock the teas in my store. Now, while the other customers can only buy the teas as individual packs, I have access to case packs. So not even the general B2B customer can't get it, but I, as a wholesale plus customer, can. So yes, I need to buy some cases of teas, which are much, they're blister packed. They're much cheaper than buying them individually. And in this case, not only can I buy this special product, This, in addition, has volume-based pricing. So if I buy 2 or more, I get even better discount. So in this case, maybe we need 3 of them. So $45 each as opposed to 50, as opposed to what would otherwise have been 100 if they were individuals. So now I've got my products, and now I check out. And in this case, I am one of their best customers. I am going to be, I do wish to be invoiced in this case. I've got a PO number form, so I'll put that in, and then I submit my order. So 2 different B2B customers, but the experiences are slightly different. Each B2B customer sees their products at their pricing and has their payment options. So that's the B2B store from the customer experience. Depending on who your customer is, they log in, they have a tailored experience to them. One thing we didn't show you here is you could further tailor the shopping experience by a layout. So either your B2B customers could have a different layout than your consumers if necessary, and even different B2B customers within your B2B store can have different layouts if necessary as well. So you can really tailor the shopping experience to whatever degree you need to. So that's the shopping experience, B2B sales, customer experience. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to look at this from the sales rep's perspective. So let's assume I'm a sales rep and I'm out in the field, as the term that sales reps like to use, and I'm calling on my customers. If I'm going from location to location, I'm probably going to have my iPad with me. I mean, this is me we're talking about, so yes, I'll have my iPad. So on my iPad, yes, I've got my order management system open, but you'll see I have a real simplified experience. Instead of seeing everything, I just see the stuff that applies to me, the sales rep. So in this case, let's assume I do call on a customer, and let's assume I walk into Josh Ross's shop, and Josh tells me, you know what, I just placed an order literally a minute ago, but you know what, I forgot that I also needed to get some golf bags for the shop. No problem. Let me get those for you. So I simply select the product or products that they need. In this case, maybe he tells me that they need 2 of them. So I'll add that to the cart on his behalf. And then we're going to check out. And while we're here, maybe I can, hey, Josh, you know what? I can see you're kind of light on golfer survival kits. Would you like to check those out as well? And maybe he's like, well, I'm not overly familiar with those. So I can even show him that product on the screen, show him all the information. And let's assume, all right, that looks great. You know, I'll take one of those as well. We'll try it in the shop. So now I've even just upsold him. And now he's all set. We're going to check out. And once we do, I can easily identify him. And even before I do that, I can try to, maybe get some sunglasses out of him or that type of thing. Let's assume he says, no, I'm all stocked on sunglasses. We're going to just look up his account. And then once I do, I can easily pick him. In this case, he's the only Ross in here. And once we do that, we can submit the order. And so now that's the experience from a sales rep's perspective. I can still, for example, he of course wants to be invoiced, as we've already talked about. In this case, maybe he wants to put it on the same PO number, so that's easy enough. And I can send him order confirmation email if you'd like. And then bam, we're done. So from a sales rep's perspective, it's very, very simple to take orders from my customers that I call on in a simple, still real friendly, still the type of experience that I expect, but just a real simplified shopping experience so that I can take orders from my customers. And what's great about this as well, since all of my product information is here, I have this to show those customers as a catalog if I need to as well. So if they're unfamiliar with products I'm trying to sell them, not a problem. I have all that data right here. Now, the other thing that I really like about this is that I have all sorts of CRM tools available to me as well. So for example, if I go to, let's go back to the main experience for a moment, and we're going to look at how we would set this up so that, for example, I could use the CRM tools and I can optimize my customers as necessary. So now we're in the back end, the standard order management system, which we all know and love. And there's a couple things that I want to show you. First off, if we go to the order section, all of my order information's here. So whether it's an order from Ted Knight that he placed himself, or Josh that he placed himself, or Josh where the sales rep just took the order, or any of my other consumer orders, they're all here, one consolidated interface. And so not only are those here, to go back to our iPad for a minute, since it's something that we know and love, they'll also show up, of course, in my dashboard. So even my sales reps can be out in the field. The sales manager also maybe is out in the field, and maybe they have their iPhone or their iPad with them. And even still, they can always check in and see, hey, are my sales reps getting it done? Are they getting orders? And yes, I can see that they are. So that, of course, makes me happy. So all my order information consolidated in one place. Now, while we're on the topic of iPads, let's actually go back to that for a moment and go back to the experience of being a sales rep. So not only, of course, can I take my orders, I can also have access to all of my information for the day and my customer information. So for example, I can see in the customer section, these are the customers I need to call on today. The follow-up dates are all set for me for today. Now let's assume after Josh, I go see Mark next and I'm at his shop. So I can click on his last name and get all the information I have about him, right here. So in this particular case, I can see that Mark is a great, he's one of our best dealers. So I need to make sure he's got all his marketing collateral. So I check around and I see that he's well stocked. And let's assume I talked to him today, and for example, he's not yet ready to give me an order today because they're knee deep in physical inventory. I can log that activity. They are in the process of physical inventory. He said, if I could type, said to call on Tuesday for his next order. So I can log right in here that I visited him in person. He told me to call him next Tuesday. I can submit that activity. And now I'm going to change my follow-up date to next Tuesday, so that when I come in the system and look at my customers next Tuesday, I'm going to see him and know that I'm ready to follow up with him. So all that information for me as a sales rep right here. Not only can I take orders as you would expect with Nexternal, but I can log my CRM activities. I can mark my follow-up dates and have all my customer information consolidated in one place. So from a sales rep with an iPad out in the field, this is, I think, just simply awesome. So that's how a sales rep works with Nexternal, ideally with a tablet or laptop, whatever they prefer. They have the tools they need to take orders and to manage their customers. So now that we've done this and we've bounced around a little bit, now I really want to focus on what's this experience like from a customer perspective. Really from the customer being you, from a merchant perspective. How does a merchant manage their B2B sales within Nexternal? Now the key, as we saw in the order section, all the orders are there. They're all consolidated. You process them like you're used to processing any orders. So that's really easy and fantastic. The key to B2B is really in the customer section. So let's look at that. With customers, as you know, next to every customer on the right, you've got a type drop down. Within reason, you can have as many customer types as you want. You can call them whatever they want, and that's what allows you to segment your customers and give them different experiences. Well, that's easy enough. How do I set this all up? If I click on the types button at the top, here's where you can define the number of customer types you have. And here's where you can also define the activity types for your sales reps: in-person call, phone call, email, that type of thing. So in this case, we have 5 customer types set up. And here's really where the magic happens. So here's where you can call your customer types whatever you want. First thing you can do is give them a ranking. And this is something that most people don't really think much about or don't fully understand. Well, what's the rank all about in Nexternal? The rank is how you can control what billing options are presented to what customer types. So in this case, Ted Knight, who is a business customer, he's ranked 2, so he can't pay by invoice. Whereas Josh, in this case, Business Plus, he's ranked 3, so he can. So that we'll get to that in a second, but that's how that segmentation happens. Here's where you pick the price label that each person sees. So somebody's business, they'll see, let's say, wholesale price. Business Plus, they'll see wholesale plus. Again, you can call these whatever you want, but you can make it clear to the customer that when they log into your B2B store, they see what they want. They see their price. You can make company fields optional or required. Probably for B2B, they should almost always be required, I would think. Here's where you select, do they have access to your B2B store? It's simply a checkbox. Is this customer responsible for tax? Depending on what you sell and how your B2B sales work, they might not be. So you can uncheck that as appropriate. So that's where that happens. Right below this is also where you can have activity types. So if you wanted to have a new activity, maybe on the previous screen you said 6, and you could have a new activity dropped off catalogs or something along those lines. It'd be really simple to add them. So the types button is really the key to all of this in the customer section. So once you have your types established, then the fun can happen. So if we go to the product section, and let's look at our beloved British open towel that I always use in my demos. So there's two real important things here. Number one is visibility. You can control who can see this product. Is this product available to everybody or just in your B2B store? Or is it only available to certain customer types? Like the case of pack of teas we looked at was only available to Business Plus. Nobody else had access to it. So controlling visibility is simply a checkbox. That gives you a tremendous amount of power. In addition to controlling visibility, you can control the pricing. Everybody knows that, of course, in the product pricing is where you put in how much this product costs. But in addition to that, you can specify that you have specific pricing for specific businesses, specific customer types. So you would check that option here. And then on the next screen, assuming I have something there selected, on the next screen, simply scroll down towards the bottom where I've got my customer base pricing. And in this case, I'm showing that the Business Plus customers, they're only paying $25. So they have a significant discount compared to the standard business customers. So visibility and customer base pricing, that all happens on the individual product level. The other thing that you can do as well, which you might have quickly seen when we're back in the customer type screen, is you can also just do discounts by customer types. So if you have a scenario where somebody's wholesale and they just get 50% off, and I don't have to go into each product, and somebody's wholesale plus, they get 55% off, you can also do that as well. So there's multiple ways to handle the discounting depending on what makes the most sense for your business. So products is where you control visibility, pricing. You can also control visibility by categories. So if you have categories that are only available to certain customer types but not others, that's where you handle that. Next thing to look at is the settings section. So there's few things to think about from a settings perspective to really enable your B2B store. The first one is under Site Options. Site Options is where you specify your business type. Yes, I sell B2C, I've been doing that forever, but I also need to sell B2B, so I'm going to specify both. If I have the type of business that's only B2B, of course, I have that option as well. So that's the first thing, is making sure that your B2B store is either set to both or only B2B if that's appropriate. So that's the first thing to be aware of in settings. The second thing in settings is down in our billing options. And here's where the rank concept that we mentioned a few minutes ago comes into play. So in billing options, I can say, for example, I am now going to allow people to pay by invoice, but not everybody, only of customers of rank X or higher, in this case 3. So even my standard wholesale customers can't pay by invoice, but my best ones can. And if they choose invoice, do I want to have PO numbers? Do I not provide them? Do I make them optional or required? I can control for that. In addition to invoice billing, I can also have 2 custom payment methods as well. So if you had a custom payment method of, I don't know, maybe you had some sort of special financing and you have your own term for the financing you provide, you could provide that as a custom payment method. And again, it wouldn't be available to everybody, ideally, or maybe it is, but if it's not, you can control who has access to it. So, so the billing option is really important from a B2B perspective, most likely. 2 other things to mention in the settings section is under what we call Boolean options. Boolean options are things that can be turned on or off. So the Boolean options within here, there's a checkbox called default ownership. And this is something you've maybe seen, but probably haven't given much thought to. This is important, can be very important from a B2B perspective, because what this does is if I'm a sales rep and I create an order on behalf of a customer, that customer is now automatically assigned to me. So that, for example, the iPad interface we looked at, and we can go back to that very quickly, these customers belong to me. They are all assigned to me as an owner. By having that default owner selection, this happens automatically when I place orders for new customers. So this is something your sales reps would probably expect that you have on. And then the final thing to show you in the settings section is under compatible software. So some of our some of our B2B oriented clients use Salesforce.com as well to take their CRM capabilities to a whole nother level on top of what Nexternal can provide. And so if you happen to use Salesforce as well, and you're not currently using our e-commerce connector, but you want the data to flow, here's where you turn that on. You also have to download the connector from the Salesforce App Exchange, and that's a whole nother topic. But here's where you'll turn that on, assuming you do indeed want to use Salesforce.com as well. 2 other things to show you real fast, and then we'll open this up to some questions. User section. So, for example, here's my iPad user account. So if I edit this, there's 2 important considerations. One is the access level I have. So your sales reps out in the field, you might want to give them, for example, guest level access. One can make an argument for a couple different levels of access depending on exactly what these people are doing and what you need them to do. But I like guest in this particular case because in addition, for example, let's assume I do want to show my catalog on my iPad to somebody while I'm visiting them. It just really limits the data that's being displayed to what really should be public facing. Number 2, and this is maybe even more important, is I can limit visibility to ownership. So once again, this works basically in concert with that Boolean option we looked at as well. So now when I log into the system, for example, on my iPad, I only see my customers and their orders. I don't see everything. And so I can really tailor my experience to me, the sales rep, by having that selected. So that's an important checkbox in this case. Finally, the last thing I want to show you, and this is more of maybe a hypothetical discussion at this point, but if you want to have different layouts, the store look differently for for your B2B store or for specific customers within your B2B store, you can establish different layout classes for them. And so in the advanced layout, you can basically have different layouts for different customer types. And then we do have at the bottom of the advanced layout an area for advanced layout class association. So you can say, well, Business Plus, this is what your layout's going to look like. And wholesale customers, this is what your layout's going to look like, that type of thing. So you can really have a tailored shopping experience. So if your business, for example, sells into other, let's assume your business sells products to Apple and to Google, and the Apple people log in and they want to see a experience very much geared towards them, whereas the Google people, when they log in, their experience, of course, is going to be much more geared towards a Google environment. You can do that, and you can do that pretty easily. So we just moved very quickly, but as you can see, setting this up is actually really, really simple. So now if anybody has any questions, please enter them into the webinar interface. The webinar interface isn't fantastic from a question perspective, so I'll do my best I can to get to your questions. I, of course, came prepped with my own question to start with, and that is, well, how do I even access my B2B store in the first place? And not everybody's aware of this, so let's look at it. Your B2B store is always going to be located at nexternal.com/biz, short for business or bus, and then your account name, in this case, Fairway. So we go to nexternal.com/biz Fairway, and that brings us to our B2B login. So real simple. Question here about if you allow invoicing, can the customer also pay with credit card? In that case, absolutely. So if we go back, actually perfect segue. So if we log in again, and then we'll just put something in the cart. And when we get to the final checkout screen, you'll see that I have both options. Let me just move this out of my way. We'll get go back to our beloved towel here. Add to cart. And then check out. And so yes, even though this customer can be invoiced, they can also pay by credit card. So they have both options. There's a question here for Facebook sharing, and could you briefly explain that, or is that too off topic? Yes, I can explain it, and yes, it's off topic in the sense that Facebook sharing, the concept there is that it's basically publicly available. So on your products, and for example, in the compatible software section, you probably saw that, yes, those are tools that we have, and those will apply in your consumer store, but those will not apply to your B2B store. I can't, if I'm a wholesaler has access to, B2B products, I can't share those with the public. It's under, it's password protected to begin with. But yes, from a consumer experience, the social media tools we have are simply awesome. Question, how do I create pricing tiers based off of volume purchases for customers? Great question there. So let's go back and look at that. So if we go back to the products area, and then let's look for our teas, for example. And so our case pack has volume-based pricing. And so in this case, we're saying we've got 2 price tiers. And what we can do is we can say that in this case, that business is going to have one pricing, and business plus will have a different pricing. Actually, let's just make it that business has a different pricing tier. So now if we hit next, I not only have my default tiered structure, I can also have my business tier structure. And in this case, instead of getting a 10% discount when they buy 2, maybe they have to buy 10. Their structure can be different. And maybe their pricing starts at, let's say, 45, and here maybe it'll drop down to 40. So you can do something, as simple as that. With the ownership option checked as limit ownership, can an order be found by searching? Say Bob took Ted's order, but Bob's out sick, so Ted calls and speaks with Joe. Can Bob find the info order? In the example so basically, somebody's asking about the concept of, visibility is limited, yet the person who should be responsible for that is out for today. How do we deal with that scenario? In that case, Ted who's out, Bob can't see his stuff directly, but you as the business owner, but let's say Mike as the business owner can. Mike as the business owner will be able to see everything in the customer section. So Mike as the business owner is going to go to the customer section, and for the ownership, he's going to change that for today. Hey, Ted's out, I'm changing everything to Craig to today, that type of thing. And then once you know that that Ted is back, then you can change those ownerships back. So yes, you as the business owner can do that. And then even in that case, once Bob was done with it, he could assign them back to Ted himself. He just wouldn't be able to access that the first. He can't just take them himself. Somebody with administrator level access in your case would have to do the initial assignment to him. Another final. Let's wrap this up with one other question. And this is actually a really good one. Can I have a form on my website for a dealer sign up? Yes, you can absolutely do that as well. So if you have a form on your website, hey, fill out this, interested in becoming a dealer, fill out this form, and basically you can ask whatever information you want in your own form. Once you have that form, if you go to integration in the customer section, if you click on the customer, this allows you to push information from an outside source into an external. In your case, people are signing up to be dealers. And if you click on the question mark, it'll give you the instructions for pushing in that data. So basically what you'd probably do is have those pushed into your system with like a customer type called pending or something along those lines. And then once you then approve them, you can even have the system generate an email for that, they're going to have their email, generate a password for them using the password preferences tool. So they'll get an email, hey, here's your, yes, you've been approved, here's the password that you need. Now you can start placing your B2B orders. So yes, that type of thing is very simple as well. So we've gone through, like I said, we've gone through this very quickly. If you still have questions that we didn't get to, please don't hesitate to let me know. But this is how B2B is handled in Nexternal. Like just about everything else in the system, it's easy to use, it's quite powerful, and it's pretty awesome if I do say so myself. If you have any questions about anything we looked at, please don't hesitate to give your account executive a call. If you're currently evaluating Nexternal and not yet working with someone here, please don't hesitate to give me a call. I would really look forward to talking with you. Thanks for joining us today.